Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We are pleased to have you guys here. I am Edmund Peters. I am one of the sales and operation managers at TESTENIUM. On the panel, we have Alan Jones, our chairman, and also our CEO, Dr. Aras Arasalingo, who will be doing most of the talking today. Alan will be talking about protection of our data and the governance and compliance around it. And we also have on the panel, Stephen Bakefield, who would really talk about the challenges many of the companies have been facing in the industry and what solutions TESTENIUM have to be able to help them with it. But before we jump into all of that, let's dive into TESTENIUM. Who and what is TESTENIUM? TESTENIUM is a cloud-based meta-computing platform. On many occasions, people always ask me, what does that even mean? Well, it means the platform enables powerful test automation at scale with no limits on the amount of test projects that can be carried out. And one of our also USPs and unique points is the platform can generate code for secure database application developments in seconds. Now, as far as we are aware, TESTENIUM is the only company that can do this. Another question is, why is that even important? Well, traditionally, it would take days and multiple testers to generate those codes. And this can be very time-consuming, laborious task, and very costly when we add remediation, which, as we all know, happens very often. So what TESTENIUM has smartly done is, with this tool, not only able to make life much, much easier and more efficient for the developers, but with the tool is also able to reduce the cost of remediation and also the increase of productivity, because you no longer need multiple testers to be able to carry out this task. You only need one person to be able to generate these codes and write the scripts. Now, TESTENIUM is a platform, is a unique platform with multiple tools that can and has been able to tackle many challenges companies face today. So, and one of those tools, which we are going to be speaking about today, is our encryption and cloud storage. In spite of what is going on in the world today, and what I mean by that, I mean COVID, the challenges companies face, even pre-COVID, in regards to data security, have not changed. If anything, those challenges have become even more difficult to tackle or mitigate because people are no longer co-located in their secure VPN environment. They're now working from home, which obviously can expose them to intrusion, to hacking, and to their devices being stolen. So what Dr. Aras will be talking about is how TESTENIUM as a tool will be able to help many small to medium-sized businesses, especially, and enterprise companies, to encrypt and secure some of those data that are in their devices, regardless if this data is on rest or in motion, or in transit. So before we go into that and get Dr. Aras to come in, I would like to get our chairman, Alan Jones, to kind of speak to us about the importance of data protection. So Alan, without further ado, if you can take over the floor and talk to us about the importance of data protection and the compliance and governance of it.
Yeah, we've undergone significant changes in the United Kingdom in the last few years, particularly with the Data Protection Act of 2018, which affected into domestic law the provisions of the European General Data Protection Regulation. And it imposes very strict requirements upon companies particularly, and also public bodies, to ensure that their data is protected and secure. We've had a number of cases in the last couple of years, actually fewer reported in the last few months, no doubt because of the pandemic, but we've had a number of very significant data breaches in major companies and public bodies, a political party, as to data protection. And the greatest risks to data are when individuals or employees are processing them on behalf of their organizations, at which point they can be hacked. And what I regard as the great value of the of searchable encryption, as promoted by TESTENIUM, is that it permits data to be processed while it remains encrypted, and that drastically reduces the risk of hacking, which of course can attract very severe financial penalties on companies and organizations at the hands of regulators. So that is the value of the product. We know from people we've spoken to, but they're still sluggish in the pandemic and reluctant to make outlays of money at present. We know from organizations we've spoken to that this is a valuable product, and we know that people are aware of the dangers. So it is a question of marketing and promotion and introducing the product to the right people at organizations. But we do believe that this product is of great, enormous potential value in protecting data from hackers, from outside interference, which will give security to organizations and save them from the attentions and penalties imposed by regulators. So that's a general introduction to the searchable encryption product.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you very much for that. I mean, we all agree, just like Alan has stated, and as my colleague Stephen Wakefield will do so in a minute, that even now, many companies, they face small challenges in regards to hacking and intrusion from any outside body or any outside hackers. And many of the times, these guys are not really trying to hack into the system. If anything, they just want an opportunity to be able to acquire some of the files from these devices. So I'm going to introduce Stephen Wakefield, who would kind of give us a small use case on examples of what has happened in the industry before for companies who haven't taken the opportunity to either encrypt their data or taken the opportunity to protect themselves from such situations as hacking. Stephen?
Thank you, Edmund. Wow. Yes, I was asked just to introduce this and just to explain what's been going on in the industry, and obviously started to have a look behind the scenes. I've been working in the telecommunications field for many years now, and it's something we were always aware of since the internet began, that there will always be people who want your data, and the data that you have, it will be valuable to them. But also realizing that a lot of data breaches are actually not malicious. They're because people make mistakes. In fact, Gartner says that 95% of security breaches are due to human error. So we are looking at data breaches. And of course, we see some of the larger ones are in the press. I mean, in 2015, in the UK, Carphone Warehouse had 2.4 million records stolen. And because it was 2015, they were fined £500,000. If that was the case today, it'd be many millions. And it's not only that, it's loss of business and loss of trust in that business. That's one of the key things. We can talk about many other organizations in 2020. Since the pandemic, a lot of people are now working from home. And because they're working from home, they're working outside the firewall, or whether it's a small business or a large business, they're outside the firewall. Once you take data outside the firewall, it's open, it's targeted. It can be targeted. And many criminals are targeting that data right now. It's just a fact of things that are happening to organizations. I'll explain a little bit more at the moment. But I mean, again, we've heard about things like Nintendo in 2020. They had 160,000 accounts stolen with payment details, which caused a major hiccup. EasyJet, 9 million records were taken with over 2,000 credit card details. That fine hasn't come through yet, but you can bet it'll be multi-millions of pounds. And also, again, loss of trust in the business. The Marriott, 5.2 million records. Zoom, 500,000 passwords have been stolen recently. These are the things that we're hearing every single day. And of course, we're hearing them because of because they're big corporates. What we don't hear, and what is equally important, is what is being targeted is the small and medium businesses as well. We hear about the ransomware, people getting into organizations, and the average payment for ransomware is now, according to Gartner, over $100,000. I say that because obviously it was a report in the US, but it goes to show that everything you have is open to the criminal element that are out there. And again, Gartner says that 86% of breaches are financially motivated. It's not state-sponsored breaches, just trying to get some data of people. It's financially motivated. On top of that, because we're now in the pandemic working outside that firewall, people are taking data, moving it, and then unstructured data in particular, reports, looking at that outside the firewall. People can access, if you put it on the cloud, people can access that cloud, break into the cloud, look at that data and steal that data. What we're talking about with the encryption techniques that Dr. Aras will actually speak about in a minute is being able to move that data anywhere within outside the firewall and continue to protect it so that your business are protected. So yes, that's my introduction, and back to you.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. Well explained, and you definitely touched on a lot of the challenges, and a lot of companies are quite afraid at the moment because, like you said, the penalties involved are quite severe. You know, we're not even talking about the kind of penalties you get with GDPR. We're talking some serious amount of millions. So not only the cost of having to secure their data, but the cost that the regulators will bring down on them if this encryption or if their customers' details are not efficiently secure. Okay, what I would like to do next is bring in Dr. Aras so he can speak to us on a broader view about the encryption tool that TESTENIUM has, the difference between that tool and the industry standard, and the challenges this tool will be able to, the kind of solution this tool will be able to bring for many companies like the Carphone Warehouse. And ransomware it's another one because, you know, they're a small to medium-sized enterprise company. So the tool we have would fit in rightly with their business case. So without further ado, I will introduce Dr. Aras Alingo, the CEO of TESTENIUM, to give us a broader view of the encryption and storage tool on the platform.
Thank you, Edmund. Good morning to everybody who have joined us. I am Dr. Aras Alingo. I am the CEO of TESTENIUM. I got nearly 38 years of experience in IT in various fields, including programming, development, consulting, training, testing, etc. So in my experience, during the past 4 decades, I noticed that there are a lot of loophole and a lot of drawbacks in the industry in terms of testing as well as encryption. So particularly in encryption, I noticed that there are ways to do even more than what the industry does. That is particularly to prevent the keys from accessing by the hackers. The key is the main point here. And as Stephen mentioned that beyond the firewall, that is also risky. So these are the two different key points that I would like to explain generically. Then I will move on to the way of protecting the data using TESTENIUM. So in the industry, there are testing and encryption methodologies developed by various larger organizations and companies. So in encryption, there are two different ways of handling the encryption. One is called symmetric encryption. The other one is called asymmetric encryption. So in symmetric encryption, they use private key for encrypting and decrypting. And for the asymmetric encryption, they also include the public key. So I'm here more or less going to focus on the symmetric encryption where we use private key. So in the industry, in order to encrypt the data or document, what they do, they use the key external to the program that they use to encrypt. So they may be having a written program by the company or purchase the program from the vendors. So those programs that they use to encrypt or decrypt do not include the key, either private key, a particularly private key. So they have to keep the key separately external to the program. So that is very risky. So if the hacker get hold of the key along with the encrypted data, they'll be able to decrypt it easily. So that is how most of the hacking has been done in the industry. And the second way of hacking is breaking the VPN. That was happened in Airbus. So Airbus 256-bit encrypted network, which is the VPN network, has been broken by the hackers, and they then get hold of all the customers' data. So here there are two factors. One is protecting the key and preventing the access through the network, virtual private network, which is a encrypted network. So what I am trying to focus here is, so how we can prevent from hackers in both cases. One is protecting the key, and the other one is preventing the hacking through the network. So in order to secure in both cases, what I came up with an idea of developing this platform for the encryption to protect the key without getting hold of the key. Whether they use a private network or not doesn't matter. So that we don't care about the private network, the VPN. So we just protect the key. So through that, the entire document system is protected, or any documents that they encrypted or the data that they encrypted is protected. So I will talk about two different methodologies here. So first I'm talking about the document encryption, which we are handling through TESTENIUM. So TESTENIUM provides document encryption platform as well as searchable encryption platform. The first one, document encryption platform, is to protect the documents in the companies. So for which what TESTENIUM offers is two software, which is called client encryptor and client decryptor. So when a customer register with TESTENIUM, the TESTENIUM will be generating two software along with unique private key for every user. So it doesn't allow one user to use other users' document to decrypt at all. So it provides a unique private key encapsulated inside the software, so that the user can download those software and then they can encrypt TESTENIUM. When you download these two software, the first software is the encryptor client, which you can use to encrypt a number of documents which is held in a particular folder. So you can select the folder and click a button. So when you click a button, it will start encrypting all the documents in the sequence. The document can be either in any format, Word format or Excel document or PowerPoint document or even text file or even programming code. And also it supports video, audio files. So you don't have to worry about any kind of document that encrypt. It will encrypt all the document which is held in a single folder. So having encrypted, then the user has to delete the software from the device, because if the software is available, any hackers can get hold of it, whether VPN is broken or without the VPN. So for that reason, we recommend the user to delete the software as soon as take the folder to decrypt it. So the folder which consists of the encrypted document. So in that case, if they want to decrypt only selected files, they can copy the selected files, the decrypted documents, and put it into a new folder. Then they can run the decryption software to click a button to decrypt all the documents. So it will decrypt them in sequence. So having decrypted, then the user has to delete the software from the device so that they are not able to be hacked by the hackers. So by doing that way, so the user is not handling the key at all, because the key is encapsulated in the software, and we are not letting the the hackers to get hold of the key at all, because there's no key to hack it. So this is the way we introduced in terms of the document encryption. So when it comes to the searchable encryption to encrypt the databases by the user, so the TESTENIUM provides a meta-programming language called TAML, TESTENIUM Application Modeling and Interface Language. So having downloaded the software that they generate, it's generated by the TESTENIUM, they can run the software in their machine along with the database, so that the data entered on the screen will be encrypted automatically by the software, and then the encrypted data will be sent to the database. So whereas the data is protected on the transit, as well as the data is sitting as encrypted format in the database, so that the encrypted data can be processed by the searchable encryption, and the data is protected on the rest as well. So by doing this way, we are.
But what I wanted to talk about, Doc, is in regards to the TESTENIUM documents. When the clients, when they encrypt their documents with TESTENIUM, where are those documents stored? Is it stored in their servers or our servers? And if they don't want it stored in their server, does TESTENIUM provide a platform or a platform where they can store their documents on our servers?
Yes.
Do we have?
It's a good question. Yeah, the user has a choice here. Once they encrypted the documents, they can keep the documents on their device, or if they want to store the documents in the TESTENIUM cloud server, they are able to do that. So TESTENIUM provides both options. So they can even upload the plain document and encrypt it in the cloud server and keep it there, or then they can download the encrypted documents for their use and keep it in their device as well. So actually, we provide two options. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing I'd add to that as well is that everybody's security is different, and small organizations, big organizations all have different processes by which they need to secure that data. So one of the things we're doing at TESTENIUM is to ensure that we work with the organizations, building into their business processes. I'll give you an example. If you're a law firm and you want to be able to send to read a document at home, you can create a briefcase on your laptop with the encrypted software that you can then read when you're at home. Now, whether you put that software, that document into the cloud, encrypted, and read it from home, or whether you want it on the laptop, that's your business process. And we're here to advise people as to the best way of doing that. So everybody's got different ways, and the thing about the TESTENIUM product solution is that it will fit into multiple different ways of doing things.
Exactly, Stephen. Yes, because we are able to provide the software anytime, they can download it anytime. So it is very flexible. Yes.
Thank you very much, Stephen, for that. And thank you, Doctor. As we've become aware, because we were hoping that maybe we'll be able to show our audience how it works, our meeting is coming to an end. I mean, we have some other questions here that have been sent in by different people. Unfortunately, time is at hand. We will not be able to answer all those questions. But before we go, Doctor, okay, so if I'm an enterprise company and I've encrypted all my files, I have no reasons to leave those files anymore on my device, because then it's now obviously I'm accessible to risk. I delete those files. All I have is the encrypted files. What happens if I lose the device where those encrypted files are? Does TESTENIUM have a downloadable option where I can go to your platform and re-download those data and encrypt them again?
Yes, like because we have a option for the user to upload the plain and encrypted document, both of them or single of them, and encrypt it and keep it. So the user can keep the encrypted document in the cloud server. So if they lose their copy from their device, they can download the encrypted document and then they can decrypt it. So because they are able to download both the encrypted document and the decryption software, so they can just download both of them and decrypt it, and then they can use the plain document.
Fantastic. Thank you, Doctor, for that. Well, we are coming to the end of this open discussion.